good. We're live.
Perfect. If you could just mute there, Annette, quickly. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Is April 20th at 1:30 p.m. We are meeting via Zoom. Is there any additions to the agenda? Mayor Murphy?
No, thank you, Chair.
Councillor Rosner?
No.
Councillor Buchwald?
Nope.
Councillor Sisson?
Nope.
And I do not have anything to add anyways. So can I have a confirmation of the agenda, please? Mayor Murphy and all those in favor? Is there any pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? I do have one under new unfinished business, so I'll be declaring a perceived conflict of interest, and I did email it into Annette. Under new unfinished business at the committee meeting, request for an outdoor seating. I will most likely be involved with the redevelopment of the creamery property, which will be in discussion. So I will be asking the mayor to act as chair during that new unfinished business. And then secondly, I'll be muting myself and turning off my volume as well in my video. So I'll remove myself at that point in time and ask the mayor to act as chair during that. So then moving forward, can I have an approval of, is there any errors or omissions with the minutes of April 6, 2021? Seeing none, could I have an approval, please? I have a mover of the minutes. Thanks, Merv. And all those in favor? Perfect. Thank you very much. So we do not have any delegations today. And I'm guessing Kevin is the 181661. Kevin, is that you? Oh, we do not have Kevin at this time. Oh, there he is. Perfect. Welcome, welcome, Kevin. Are you there?
Yes, I am. You hear me?
Yes, sir. Can everyone else hear him?
Yep.
Perfect. So go ahead with your report there, Kevin.
Okay. At the here at the arena, the ice pad is out. Everything's cleaned up. The paramedics had a vaccination on April the 6th. They're having another one today. They're using our lobby is for getting the vaccines ready, and then they disperse from that location then out. So they're here now. They're here till probably 4:30, 5 o'clock or so. I did interviews for our summer students, and anyways, things went well there. I was talking to Dana this morning, and we received 5 summer student grants from the Canada Jobs. So no details to what positions, but we received a grant for 5 students, which is great. So that's good news. Centennial Park, we're just getting things ready from the winter, clean up the flower beds and get everything ready for new growth. We replaced some of the bad boards on the walk bridge, but yesterday we had some great weather, so we replaced about 20 some feet of it. So it's a work in progress. The weather's right, we'll continue on that. Hopefully get it done sooner than later. Up at the Legion Field, sort of a roller coaster ride. Anyways, we put the nets up, and then we had to lock the gates. So anyways, it is what it is. That's all we can do.
Yes, go ahead, Mayor Murphy.
Thanks, Chair. I think that we should take these one thing at a time. So just with Centennial Park, Kevin, I understand you put up caution tape and now you've taken the caution tape down. Is that correct?
That's correct on the playgrounds. And then this morning we went back in and we put caution tape on the picnic tables.
Yeah, I don't know how a picnic table is an amenity, but with regards to the tennis courts, There is a meeting with all 444 heads of council on Friday, and I'm hoping that that will be repealed. I mean, I think that, you know, if Dave and I wanted to go out and lob a tennis ball back and forth, that's probably a very healthy thing to do. So I'm assuming that they'll be lobbying for things like that and golf. I know we don't have a golf course in our jurisdiction, but I think that's what most of us are hoping for this come Friday. The meeting was supposed to be at 11 o'clock this morning. They changed it, which is a shame because ostensibly I would have had some new information for you. But I will get in touch with you and Annette on Friday after that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Jason and I were talking about that fill over by the volleyball nets. Once it gets dry enough that we can get it level without doing more damage, that's what we're planning on doing and getting that cleaned up. So that'll fix up that corner. Horticulture, I'm hoping nothing changes, and I'm not sure what they're planning on having a plant sale on May 22nd. I'm hoping nothing's going to go change differently on that. I hope they can still continue, but I don't know how that's going to work. But I guess we'll just have to stay in tune, I guess, on that one.
Just if I may, Mr. Chair, just out of curiosity, are they doing kind of a drive-through, or are they hoping for people to be milling about? My only concern is that, of course, we're in this strange lockdown time until May 20th, which really doesn't give a whole lot of time.
Yes, and I totally understand. I'm not sure. I haven't been talking to them. I will, though, because what's right today is wrong tomorrow. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm not sure what they had in mind. It's hard to say. Opeonga Park, went up there and did an inspection on the playground, and Ontario Hydro was talking to them, and they had some poles they were replacing close by, so we received 2. So it was a win-win. For the village, planters on the bridge, we've dropped them off at Gerber Nursery, so they'll be ready to go probably by June sometime. So Jason and I are taking the lights off the bridge and putting the banner up next week, kind of deal. Park benches, we're still good to put those out. No issues with that. What's council's, we're good?
Yeah, put them out as normal is what my recommendation would be.
Yeah, yeah.
Park benches are allowed, but picnic tables aren't. Strange. Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah.
Well, and we're a hill town anyway, so when people are walking through, they a lot of the people need a break. Is the best way to put it.
Even I need a break.
Same kind of thing. We're like Rotary Beach, we're checking all our playgrounds and tilling them up after the winter, make sure everything's good to go for the when everything gets back rolling again. I guess the next topic there is the dog park where we're anyways. Have you see what on my notes there? I've called the supplier, and as you may see, since I did that in late December, and I was talking here last week, and the increase is substantial, and the price is only good for 5 days. So it's going to be a lot of costs there. That's just for material.
Well, and that's why at the last meeting, Kevin, we asked for what the cost would be, and then what the labor costs would be for outsourcing it, and then what cushion we would need in case, say, there is influx or whatnot, just so then the committee for the dog park can have a number to attain for their fundraising.
Right.
That was the my understanding was the point. So I guess, like, do we have a figure for a fundraising total that we're going off of? Like, be it so 10,000 for material, 10,000 for outsourcing labor, and then a $5,000 cushion that would cover your signage and whatnot, I guess.
I would think that would be there, and maybe some additional cost too, because we'd have to put up dog stations and additional, like, just material to change the dog stations and everything. So that may do it, Brent. It's hard to say, because the prices I got were only valid for 5 days, and the way things are fluctuating these days, who knows what's right.
Yeah, go ahead, Murph.
Has anybody, Kevin, has anybody gone around with a piece of bar just to see how far the bedrock is down, or how close the bedrock is to the surface?
Yes, Merv, I've checked. It varies, anywhere from 6 inches to 8 inches, and it depends. You pick your spot and it's there.
So there's liable to have to be drilled in posts.
If it's beside, yes. If beside the sewage plant, yes.
Yes, go ahead, Jen.
Thanks, Brent. So, two things. Number one, where were you thinking in Legion Field? And the other question I had was, have we approached the owners of the old school? If there's, I don't know if construction's going on there this year or not, if they would be willing to do a temporary dog park to see how much interest there is, and wouldn't it be easier to fundraise if you had all those dog park people, almost like a dog rodeo, where people bring their dogs out and they're all excited to be in this off-leash area? And would they be more likely to donate if they were sort of in a temporary location? But I've always wondered about this behind the sewage plant, and I was wondering about Legion Field. I know that you don't want our ball fields ruined, but is there an opportunity off one of those diamonds to do a fence? That was a lot of questions all in one. I'm sorry. I was trying to get all my ideas out all at once, because when I saw this price, and I figured it would be about 10 grand for the materials, but when we know that, lumber has quadrupled, it would not surprise me to see chain link fence increasing at a rapid rate, unless somebody like M&R Feeds perhaps had some in stock. So it just, sorry, a bunch of stuff for you there, Kev.
Up at the Legion Field, off one of the, that's a tough area, Jen, because we have our soccer at the back end of both of those fields. That's a tough.
I would probably be pretty, like, from speaking with the people in the dog park committee as well, they're leaning towards the sewage facility, and the reason is I think you would get pushback from people that live around Legion Field, just because of the close proximity also to the baseball diamonds and the splash pad. But I think also it's in Legion Field, your direct sunlight. So I know where you are behind the sewage, that's where, my understanding from speaking with the members of the committee, that's their preference, especially because you are close to McRae's Park, you have your RV dumping, and you're away from any sports fields or sports diamond, or really any community, is the best way to put it.
Can I add something there, Mr. Chair?
Yes, go ahead, Tim.
Yes, I've received phone calls about Legion Field as well, and I'm getting a lot of strong opposition to it. And one thing I was going to ask you today, Kevin, have you noticed many people using the ball diamonds as an off-leash dog park? Because I have been getting complaints about that. So I don't believe that we are allowing people to use the ball diamonds as an off-leash dog park. Have you noticed any, any amount of, say, debris laying around the ball diamond as you're doing your inspections and such?
Yes, Tim, there has been, and now that even the ball field's blocked off with caution tape. I haven't been up there early in the mornings, but they'd be doing two things. They'd be going underneath the caution tape if they were using the ball field as a dog park. But yes, there is some activity up there for sure.
So my question is, how do we prevent that from happening? Because as far as I know, that is not acceptable yet. And there's also people, fearful too with, not fearful, but they don't want it to become a habit, or say if the kids are out playing or whatever, and they don't know what the dogs are doing or capable of. And I don't know what one another's dogs are doing either. So I thought those places were off limits to the off-leash dog park type of deal. And I maybe think we should maybe start enforcing that it is not an off-leash dog park at this time.
Yeah, I'm not sure, like, other than having a conversation with the individuals, what would my next step would be? I'm not sure.
Probably have a good chat with Mark would be the best, right?
So I guess that brings us back to the dog park. So for where we stand right now, Kevin, do you have a list of things that we need if this dog park were to be made? So, like, for example, who would be responsible for, say, picking up the dog feces, the bags and stuff? So I think it'd be important for you to have a conversation with the dog park committee, in my opinion, to see what they would bring to the table for recurring costs, be it dog tags, selling, or advertisement, and then go over what you would require on a day-to-day basis from them as a committee, and then get a commitment level, I guess. If we don't have a total price tag right now, but I think 25 grand is a pretty, in my opinion, some form of safe bet.
I would say 25 grand is very, like, definitely right there, because in December it was at almost little over 17,000 for material and labor. So like, you're right there, and if not, you might be a little under. So 25 would be definitely a flexible starting point. So did you see, like, in my staff concerns, there was a few little, like, when I go back to the committee or talk to them, like, the risk and the liability of having the dog park, and that, like, as council and the township, how does that?
Is that included in our, sorry, Kevin, up on me there. Annette, perhaps you need to answer this question from an insurance point of view. Within our insurance package, is there, obviously other municipalities have off-leash dog parks, so it's not like we're reinventing the wheel. We used to go to a huge one in Toronto when we lived there, so there's got to be that. But also looking down your list, Kevin, I think that we have said to the committee, we would expect some maintenance from your committee. Is it seasonal? I'm not sure. Locked at night, I don't think it needs to be. But lights, I don't see that as a first step. Perhaps council disagrees with me. Light, maybe fundraise for lights down the road. And I'm not sure about your question about future expansion of the sewage plant. It seemed to me that it was off, the dog park was going to be off to the side. So I thought that there was room behind, but I could be wrong. So those were just my notes.
Go ahead, Annette.
So those were the concerns that were brought forward, and that Daryl did, yes, where the dog park is proposed is a future site for any expansion of the geotubes should we ever need to do that. So it doesn't mean that, but it's hard once you put a dog park in to say, well, now we're getting rid of your dog park because we need to expand the geotube. So that was definitely a concern brought up by Daryl. The snow was brought up by our Public Works, by Jason. And then as well, it is locked at night, and that was brought up by a few people because I guess there were people going into the facility at night prior to those gates being put up. So I think what I'm looking for and what Kevin and I are looking for from the committee is when we go back to the dog park committee. So we've got an approximate cost for fundraising of 25,000. We've got some volunteer efforts, which we can have a discussion with them. If council or the committee is okay with the location of the geotubes, then that could be the location. Just wanted to make sure you were aware of the other concerns. And then as far as timing, so could the gates be locked at night, and can it be seasonal? Can we attempt to have it seasonal so that when that area has to be used for additional snow load, it's not impacting that? So those were some of the discussions that we wanted to have with committee today so that we could go back to the dog park committee to say, so here are the parameters. Can we make that work? So, but wanted to bring that forward to council, to the committee to say, is that something that you're comfortable with, knowing these staff concerns, knowing this? And yes, it is additional liability. Of course it is. There is risk associated with, and that's sort of what we'd be taking on. The township would be taking on the risk. The township would be giving up some land and some location for this dog park, but the volunteer committee would be doing the ongoing maintenance, the cost to actually set it up, and then the parameters around that are sort of what we were looking for. Would it be seasonal? Are they looking to have it open at night? So those are conversations that we were looking for direction from committee for. And Kevin, did I miss anything?
I think you've covered it
Can
all
I
there.
add something, Mr. Chair?
One second there, Tim. Jack, go ahead, and then Tim, you can go.
Okay. With all this new focus that we've received now, potential growth of
Jack, could you
septic system, and
Jack, just hold on a second. Your video is cutting in and out.
What?
I said your video is cutting in and out. Are you able to maybe go dark for a bit and then see if your audio works better?
okay, hang on,
Thank you.
sure. That work better now?
Yeah,
Is that
go ahead.
better?
Yep.
Is that okay? Yeah, just bringing this all this new information to light that I wasn't aware that it was going to impact possible expansion of the G tube, and if it's interfering with Jason and the snow removal, I think maybe we should really revisit and see if this is the proper location, because I don't think a dog park should impact any growth or expansion that we're having within the town. And I know Legion Field is not a good location, but maybe where this piles of dirt and all that are located, could the dog park not be located there? It's totally removed from the splash pad and would be removed from where they play ball because it's off to the other side. So I don't know, that's just my comments on it. I think we should really step back and revisit if this location is the right spot.
Go ahead, Tim.
Okay, actually, I'm going to back up a little bit what Jack was just saying there up until the point for the Legion Field. But I know Bonnechere Valley is a big municipality, and I'm sure we've got other parcels of land where it's not going to impact, future development on what's going on with our core services downtown. My question is to those who are more familiar with the dog committee is how many of these people actually take their dog, put them in a vehicle and drive them to the dog park? And would it not be just as efficient for us to have them in a spot where it's not going to impact the neighbors and stuff and impose future detriments to what we're trying to expand or our snow dump, because we really don't want to harm those things either. And, looking around Bonnechere Valley, I'm sure there's maybe a better spot or location, especially if a lot of these people, as it was brought to our attention last year, they drive their dog to the dog park anyway. I'm sure if it was a little further up the road in an area where it wasn't going to impact a bunch of people, I'm sure they would much rather be in a spot where they could let the dogs run and not have to worry about the kids right there and everything else. And I think we have to really keep them separated, and it'll keep them a little bit more happy, so to speak, in the future as to combining them. And maybe little kids are scared or stuff of dogs or whatever it may be, and we don't want to put that on anybody else either. So I think we got to think this thing a little bit more through, especially with the last information that's brought to light there with Darrell and Jason.
And then thanks, Tim. Jen, go ahead, and then I'll comment.
Yeah, I agree with Jack and Tim, actually. And the more I think about where Jack was thinking at Legion Field, I do have concerns about the neighbors are right there. You're driving your little ones in and out to go to the splash pad, if they're going to be barking dogs, etc. And, you do have children and adults that are afraid of dogs. I'm just wondering, was there not another site along John Street, closer to the river, that Steve had sort of walked with Heather Park Wheeler? Or did they not get there, Brent?
No, so there's the ECG property, if I recall, but where the snow's put, the majority of the snow load is put on the left-hand side. So where the dog park is originally scheduled, as we discussed, in the same location as last year, it's, in my opinion, that would be, or I guess you would say, that's not where predominantly all the snow ends up going. Just because you're on the right-hand side behind all your black, where your black bags are for your sewage. And for like growth of expansion, well, when that comes, it's going to be a lot more development cost than 25 grand. But end of the day, you would end up with a consistent fence that would be the same parallel as the fence you already have, I guess, at the sewage station. So if that would be, I guess, a conversation down the road. But unless there's a massive expansion coming the next while, I don't see any, and we've talked about it for probably a year to 2 years now. And I think end of the day, if there's other alternatives or council members want to get involved and help, I guess, volunteer or raise funds or anything, this has been going on for 2 years. And I think for, say, growth, that's always a possibility. It's no different than anything. But I think that you could easily, it's a dog park. It's not like you have infrastructure in the ground. It's not like a concrete slab or pad or anything. It's literally a fence. And the dog park committee is asking actually to leave natural ground actually already in place. So pretty much you're almost working with what you already have now. You just have a fence there as well, that could technically be repurposed. So I guess my question is are we in favor of dog park or are we not? We've been talking about for 2 years. So at what point as a volunteer, are you just gonna be like, you know what? I just give up. I'm not going to fundraise 25 grand and we're going to keep having dogs running on a ball diamond. So really, I guess if people have other ideas or other locations, then be the boots on the ground as well. Go and look and find somewhere in our township and maybe help support this cause rather than, I guess, in my opinion, be roadblocks.
So Brent, did you ever walk that? I forgot. You're right. That is EGC property further down. Would that piece of property suffice to keep it in the village but away from a neighborhood? Because sounds like that might be a good idea, but then we never really heard back. Well,
that's where your majority of your snow load goes. So like that's on the snow load side of it. And then you need it. So Steve had talked about it. So that would be extending a road network up into the geo trail, where, because that's what was discussed, was you'd end up going closer. So you'd extend and drive up to the geo trail, but that would be more of infringement on the snow load. And that was when we discussed with Bill, when Bill was around at the time. And that's why it wasn't proposed for that section, because for having a clear walking path, you would have to make a walking path, and you would have to move your gate that you have up to the actual entry of the geo trail, and move it about 100 meters back. So you'd actually be infringing more on the actual snow load. So like in my opinion, I would be very against being on Legion Field, and that's because I have spoken to a lot of people on the dog park committee, and you're in direct sunlight where you are. If you look at the community center roof, that's the
Chris,
side of the roof. That's the
you have a
side of the
second?
roof that gets damaged. So that's where you have your snow load. Where the location that's presented, if the biggest concern is the growth at the water and sewer station there, well, you know what? If we have that amount of growth, we're going to have a lot more money than worrying about a $25,000 dog park. And I think at that point, if we're able to expand our water and sewer, that's great news for our township. That means we have tremendous amount of growth. That means we have a lot of possibility. You know what? 25 grand at that point will seem a lot less. So that's my comments on it. I know we've kept Kevin long, but so I guess right now, what is everyone's recommendation to send Annette back, maybe for them to have a conversation with the dog park committee? And I have no problem calling a special emergency or special council meeting to discuss this in between meetings if we need to take 30 minutes every time, because I think as a volunteer as well, like you like to see progress and things moving forward. So what do we want to send staff with today, council? Jen, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, I think I'd like to send Annette and Kevin and maybe even Jason back to the committee just to go over some of these concerns. You know, I have no issue if they don't mind it being seasonal. Again, locked at night. I didn't realize what it's not actually the sewage plant that we're talking about expansion. I think somebody just said the geo tubes, which is different than our water and sewer. But there again, look, I have been in favor of this dog park since day one. I want to see it happen. I'm planning to donate, and I'm planning to bring Stella into Eganville. So I would like to see this move forward. And if we need to have a quick meeting with the committee at some point, I'm sure that we can make that happen. I don't see this as being a really, I know that we've taken some time here, but more so about the bloody cost. Like, what a shame. It's anyway, but yeah, that would be my recommendation.
Go ahead, Murph.
Now, I can see the septage plant taking large expansion if the government stops spreading of such septage on fields. If the government stops field spreading, I can see a real demand for the septage expansion.
But that's been a threat since what, 2007, and nothing's ever.
Yeah, we had to have it done by 2000 what was it? 19. I forget now. 1909, I think.
Yep. Okay. And then Tim.
Yes, no, and I'm not meaning any offense to any potential off-leash dog park individual here, but I really don't see why we have to make things so close to our core services either. So I know we've had information brought to us in the last few months with Daryl and sometimes with Jason and sometimes with Bill, and sometimes the information is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month in between for us to even digest and hash out. So for me to give a decision on something, I want to make sure that I have all sides of the angle before we stamp this through and commit to anybody, because the last thing I want to do is see somebody raise $25,000 and then tell them no at the very end. I think the time for doing thoughtful processes before we commit to putting a fence in the ground. So the Bonisher Valley is a big township, and we've got a lot of acreage in it. And I don't see why we would even think about putting any of our assets in the middle of things or things that we are using at this time. I'm sure that there's another place within this municipality where we could not impact neighbors right beside one another or worry about what septage is coming in a few weeks. I just want to make sure that when we do this, that we are all in okay with this, and we don't have to tell these people in 5 years from now, 10 years from now, that no, we can't use this dog park anymore. It's a lot easier to do things before we start putting things in the ground than afterwards.
And then, Jack, do you have any final comments?
Well, the only comment I have is I'm in agreement with Tim. I really don't think we should rush to this site if there's a potential to impact our core services. And I don't know, there's no room out at Spring Creek where the dog pound is? There's no room anywhere for a dog pound? Like, has that even been visited? Because we have the dog pound area itself there. Is there not substantial room along the front where the road runs down along?
I guess,
Like, I don't know.
Jack, I guess the way to look at it is it's a volunteer driven project. So I guess it's really, do we want to park in I guess in Eganville is where this is driven. So do we want to park in Eganville or not? Or if we have an alternative recommendation by council, then be the boots on the ground, find it, work with the volunteers and raise the money. But really, I think at this point, my recommendation would just be to send staff and to have a conversation with the dog park committee to see what they will do for the township and help out, how much they think they can raise, and if they can come up with an alternative location again, then we can talk, then we can go over it. But that's, if everyone's comfortable with that, I'm comfortable with it, I think. And then if we have to have another special meeting to specifically talk about this, I'm perfectly fine with it. And maybe we can put the memo out if other councillors want to walk it. I can have the dog committee reach out to them so they can go and physically distance and meet where they're talking about, and I think it'll ease some of the concerns. But I think that's, in my opinion, where we stand now. Is everyone fine with having staff reach out to the dog park committee to kind of narrow this down to bring a future recommendation? Just, I guess, thumbs up if everyone's good with that for now. Okay. And then Kevin, we're just kind of running out of time a bit, but on council's end, is there anything else in the recreation report that you want to discuss? Anyone have any other notes? Because we are about 15 minutes over time. Yes, Jen, go ahead.
Thanks. I don't have any other notes on Kevin's, but I do. We've got Dana's planning and zoning, which kind of speaks for itself. In her community development report, one of the things that's coming forward is this market gap analysis and, putting things out to newcomers, etc. And it occurred to me last week after these fires that we had, that our drone operator went out and took footage. And I was thinking that this might be a golden opportunity to do a drone promo video to put on our website, to put on our social media, not just of the village, because the village has been done, I believe, by somebody in a low-flying plane. But if we did a promo drone video of, Foymount and Constant Lake and Golden Lake and through the village and into our parks, to show all the beauty that we have, the geo trail and that kind of thing, so that we're not just telling people about these assets, we're showing them the assets. And I'm not throwing anybody under the bus here. I did speak to our drone operator and he said that he would be happy to do it and that the footage is very easily editable. And I thought that this, at this time, when we're putting out new things, this is probably the time to do this. Maybe not on a yucky day, but when horticulture has done their gig and the parks are all ready and pretty and, the sun is shining. So maybe not for the immediate future, but I was thinking maybe end of May. And I will tell you that Caleb has agreed. So Kevin, I think if council likes that idea, then between you and Dana, you could come up with a game plan for Caleb. I think it's time. We've got a lot of people coming to our area, and why not, beyond saying we have an arena and we have a library and we've got 2 schools and 11 churches, let's show them how beautiful it is here. Just an idea.
On Dana's report there, I just have a couple of items that I want to touch base with. Was the curling club. Annette and I and Mark have been working with back and forth with the curling club, and Going to have a little meeting with Gerald Priestley after May 6th about the plan, just to revisit, look at the different options, what they have in mind, or what they have, what we can do and what they can do, kind of deal. Anyways, that's work in progress. It might be now till later on in May because where we are. But anyways, the library is looking to do a little walkthrough on like they're through a geo trail. And anyways, it's going to tell a story, and what they're doing, they're going to laminate the pages on stands, or I'm not sure exactly yet. I need more detail, but I just got this the other day, so it was just put in quick. Anyways, I don't foresee an issue. I was talking to Preston because that's kind of Preston's little corner, the geo trail. So he was all in favor of it. So anyways, I just want to let you aware that the library is thinking of doing this. They're doing a partnership with NAW also. They're going to do it at the Shaw Woods. So it's just to get people out and walking through trails, basically, get them active. So anyways, there's a couple of topics that I just want to touch base with Dana's report.
Nope, that sounds like a plan there, Kevin. Nope, Jen, that was a good idea for the drone and stuff. So I'd support that, or looking into it at least. So, but is there? Yeah, Jen, go
I
ahead.
figure we own it. We might as well use it.
Yep, no, 100%. I think everyone's going virtual, especially people are buying property in our area and never even seeing it. So it's kind of good to introduce them to local lakes, the actual rural life, that we aren't just a little town. We have a lot more to offer, which is great. But is there anything else before Kevin leaves today? Anyone want to bring up? Seeing none. Well, Kevin, thank you for coming, and it was enjoyable to have you an extra 15 minutes today. So, but no worries there, Kevin. Have yourself a great day and enjoy the nice gloomy weather out there.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay, we'll move on to Jason now. I see that he's just on mute and camera off. So, Jason, are you there?
Hello, everyone.
Hey, Jason. So what's going on with the roads department? Go ahead there, sir.
Okay, so I'd like to get this stuff approved. We had our tenders come through. The 1-ton truck, we had received nothing because the trucks are very hard to get right now. So I've talked to other dealerships, and they're putting in their 2022 orders or 2023 orders in August. So we will try again then to see what we can scrounge up for trucks in that way. The BV 2102 tandem truck, we received 2 tenders. The lowest one does not meet the specs of what we asked for. So, and I talked to the dealership today for the tandem, and it actually will be a 2023 now because all the 22s are sold. So we're looking at a 2-year window before we get a truck.
What model is it, Jason?
It's a Western Star, Merv.
Okay. White Western Star.
And this backlog's pretty much not going anywhere. So then that's why. So the more we wait, the more we're pushing it away.
That's right. And the big issue is the electronics in these trucks. That's where it seems to be the big delays. It's not the other components at all. It's just electrical end of it.
Go ahead there, Tim. I saw you're off mute. Okay, I guess not. Tim's must not be there.
Oh, I was just, yeah, we're here. No, I just wanted to say that, yeah, if we have to go ahead with one, the appropriate one, it's the way to go there, Jason. absolutely, no problem with, supporting the Western Star deal.
Okay, so I would recommend to council to accept the Francis Canada specs that we've asked for.
Yep. Nope.
Yes.
Thumbs up. Sounds good.
Good.
Perfect. Now the BV 2103 Bruce Street stairs. There again, because of the extensive pricing for pressure treated lumber right now, the price went up significantly. So there was 2 tenders came through. The other company backed out because there was very little difference in what they have bid for the railings end of it. And so for the price of $18,896.95, I would recommend council accept the offer, and we take the additional money out of our reserves. Yep.
That's Jason. Yeah, that's definitely in dire need. But is that all out of pressure treated lumber is what they're doing, or they're ripping out like what's underneath what's there now? Like how are they? I guess doing a footing for it.
So right now, the existing cement stairs are underneath.
Okay.
It was very hard to, without tearing a whole bunch of stuff apart, to actually see how the concrete is right now. Like that stairs has been there for, has to be over 30 years, close to 30 years. So what we've seen underneath, it seems like the stairs are all right. Till we get the top off, we're not going to really know. And if it comes down to that we have to tear the stairs out, well, then we could go with those turn-in pilings. So
Yeah.
it would be a little more work for the works department to go ahead and tear the concrete out.
So I just want to make sure, obviously I knew you'd have a plan B. I just wasn't sure what it was. So, okay, just because I know, that's why I figured they were off of the wood on top of the concrete. Makes sense.
Yes.
It's more efficient. But no, I'm perfectly fine with it, as I saw Jen put a thumbs up. Any other comments from council pertaining to the stairs? Seeing none, so everyone's, yep, go ahead, Jen.
I'm just glad they're getting done.
Before somebody gets hurt.
Well, I get a complaint basically at least once a month. So I was really happy that this was in the budget. I realized we're a little bit over budget. It's got to be done. Thanks, Jay.
So now
Perfect.
the railing also, Jen, was worked into, or everyone that was worked into that price also. So it was also like around 29,000 something for the total package. I recommend council also do it's going to be a steel railing painted to just the building code. So, it's a lot of work to also do that stuff too. Good.
Yep,
BV 2105 hot box. We had 2 tenders come in. I would recommend to council to accept Amico as the lowest tender.
Go ahead, Murph.
Are they the same? I mean, the difference in price of that one unit, are they the same thing as the cheaper one, identical to the more expensive one, or is it just somebody wants to make more money?
A lot of it is, Merv, there's there's extra, I guess there's extras on the all trade equipment one, which we don't need. All we need is pretty much the basics, a few additional pieces here and there that we would need. Other than that, all we need is a basic hot box just to have a packer on it and rakes and the proper signage and, that kind of stuff that goes on with that.
Sounds good. Any other questions about the hot box? Perfect. Yep, go ahead, Annette.
So that one came in under budget, so that could kind of cover off the over budget for the stairs and railings. So we don't have to take any more out of reserves. That whole equipment purchase expense, that should work itself out with what we've budgeted so far. Because it's the $36,000 one you're recommending?
That's right.
Okay. Good. Thanks.
Okay, so the 2106 gravel for maintenance gravel. BEI came in the lowest. I recommend that council accept the BEI offer.
Yes, go ahead, Murph.
Is the BEI granite-based gravel rather than limestone-based, you know?
No, it's limestone, Merv. It's getting harder and harder to get the granite gravel. Most of the contractors have all pretty much gone to limestone.
Okay. There's three pits right in this area here. That's the only thing, you know?
And we have a supply of granite up in one of those pits that we generally use on that upper end.
Yeah. Okay.
Thanks, Murph. Go ahead, Jason.
Right. BB 2107 winter sand. I recommend the tender go to RJZL at 53,940.
Perfect.
The end of Birch Road, the property owners would like to survey the property at their cost and have a section of the forest road transferred to the township. So what has happened there on the end of that road, there's a little wee pie that somehow it got missed in the, I guess, the first survey or something. And the owners there would like to have that, switched around. So get that chunk of property off of the other, I guess off their business property, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, it
Go ahead.
also allows them to sever,
Yes.
sort of an important housekeeping item, I think.
Perfect.
Yes. So number 3, there's been a change with number 3. I had, we had a wayside attendant retire. So I had a replacement lined up. But I got a phone call the other day stating that they will turn down that offer. So we're back to the drawing board for someone at the Sand Road site. And for Highway 41, if it can work out, we would like that person to also be an attendant down there during the week of Tuesday at 3 till 6 p.m. So we put out the ad, I believe Monday. So we'll know a little more here before everything opened up for summer hours. And then we'll go back at this if we don't get anyone for an attendant.
Perfect. Sounds like you have it planned out there, Jason.
All right. I spoke with the contractor, BEI, who's the lowest bidder on the gravel, and they will supply the M gravel for Baptist Church at a price of $3.15 per ton. They had to put it up just because of the distance from the quarry. It is only up.
Not that much.
No, it's not very much at all from what they had bid for the other maintenance gravel. Yeah, it went up 35 cents, sorry.
Go ahead there, Annette.
It's still less than the other bid though, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
So, yes, I forget what the difference is. I would like council to approve this, please.
Yep.
Great.
Sounds good.
Okay, perfect. Brent, on your list that you had sent to us about that sign.
Yep.
We got some pricing back for a 4x8 sheet with a composite backer, not reflective. It's $375. And for the same sign, but in reflective material, it's $450.
What's on there now? So the request I put into Jason was to get a quote on the Eganville sign that comes in from across from the Sheldon O'Grady's, because it's severely sun damaged. So I had asked them to just figure out what the cost of that would be. Yes, Jen?
I think they do have to be reflective now with the new provincial guidelines, don't they, Jay?
I believe so, yes, Jen.
And doesn't the county do them for us?
We could get a price from them also.
I would.
Sure,
Yeah,
sounds
so
good.
yeah, like I'm fine, Jason, just to get a quote from the county and then bring it back to council at the next meeting. Like that's kind of how I look at it. So
Yes. Sounds
Wait
good.
a minute, hang on. When we asked for the sign on 512 that says Eganville, the county did that sign. I think they did it for free.
are you talking about the blue
cemetery.
sign up for him? The blue sign up for him out. The one I'm specifically is right by the Catholic school, where the church, the cemetery is. It's the red sign. It's just really sun faded, so you can barely can. Yeah, so that's the one specifically right above the blue kiosk, I guess it is. So yeah, so that's the one because the sun has done a lot of damage and there's no reflectivity, nothing on it. Just so no, so
Sorry,
reach out
Brent.
to. Yep, no
I
worries.
misunderstood. Yeah, I was talking about the blue provincial signs. And it's funny you say that because the one coming in from Kelly's Corners is actually in pretty good shape because it's protected by some trees.
Yep.
The one at BMR, across from BMR, is also starting to show its age.
Yeah, so no, so I'm perfectly fine, Jason, moving forward with that $350 amount. But if the county's able to beat it, I would be. I think that sign, in my opinion, just needs to get replaced because it's not doing its purpose right now. So,
No, for sure.
so if the county's able to get a better price, then I would be happy to utilize them. If not, then I would be happy to move forward with the price of $357 or $450, whichever one has a reflectivity on it.
Right.
Yes,
And,
Jen, go ahead.
Sorry, now that you've explained, I don't think the county does those signs. That was a private company that did the sign. Let's throw that work back to them.
We have other connections that we can get more pricing from.
Okay.
Just this was a local sign designer. So we can reach out to another company that it'll be just shipping and everything else that would be added on to it, right?
Nope, that's perfect, Jason. That's much appreciated. So,
Okay.
yes, Murph.
Jason, did you get anywhere with what we were talking about the last time, the hand land sprayer or line sprayer?
Yes, Merv, I did some phoning around. The company has not yet fired up yet because of the cold weather and the rain that's been coming.
Yeah.
So I'll reach out to them again and just see roughly when they will be starting and see if they have any extra yellow paint that we could use that already has the reflectivity in it. We got some of that before one time, and I don't know if that actually came from the county, because the county used to do their own line painting, and I think they may have had extra at that time that they gave us because it was going stiff on.
I thought maybe you're looking at buy or rent one of ourselves, like a walk behind one. If you could get.
Yes, I did look at them. The rental place that I talked to in Pembroke, excuse me, they don't stock the bigger type one that we would use.
Uh-huh.
It has its own motor and you'd have to walk behind it and it would spray the line actually.
I think when we originally talked about it, Murphy, we're just had asked if we could get the paint, if we could just touch it up with a 4-inch roller, pretty much, and just close down traffic just on a couple of spots. I think that's, if I recall from our last conversation,
Yeah.
We're just trying to keep it as simple as possible and just close off the road. And if we could touch it up by hand in some of the things, then we could. We just didn't want to complicate it too much. Yes, Jen. Go ahead.
So yes, that's how I understood it as well. It was just a matter of sourcing the paint because it is specific paint now. My last thing for Jason, can we have a ditch day?
We have a ditch day?
Can we have a
Is that what
ditch day? Yeah,
Sure.
a ditch day. So what I was wondering is, could we choose a weekend in May for ditching, for getting rid of, it's phenomenal to me, beer bottles and McDonald's cartons outside of my house. Would council be willing to give people that get out there and clean up their ditches, would they be willing to give them, one bag of garbage free at one of the sites? And anyway, I'll leave it there, but Jay, it would have to coincide with your staff where we're saying, if you've gone out and you've cleaned up your ditch, yes, you can have one bag. And I was just going to leave. I was hoping that it could go in the newsletter.
Can I add to that?
Go ahead, Tim.
From my perspective, I can see a lot more most of the time when I'm driving, and I totally support that 110%. Absolutely a great idea, Jen, because I drive along and I can see what a lot of people can't because I'm, of course, another 7 feet in the air. And yeah, I really appreciate it if people could get out there and do that.
So if I have a couple of couches to get rid of, I could just put them in the ditch and then throw them out, and township's going to pick it up. Because I'm sure that won't. But no, I'm fully supportive of it, especially people at bags of garbage. Yeah, that's no problem if we have a specific day. Or is the other option? I guess we wouldn't want staff to pick it up. That'd probably be a nightmare for you, Jason. So then probably easiest just ask people to bring it in on a specific day, and it's free garbage, and it is what it is. It cleans up the community, and then that's good. No, I support that, Jen.
I support it as well. The only thing my concern is that one bag won't go very far with some of the ditches.
Okay, so Merv, so I'm not sure if any of you have driven down our road lately, but the plantation across the road has been clear cut. And so I wandered down the laneway to get the mail and to look at what was going on across the road. And I was shocked at the amount of garbage around our mailbox and in our ditches. And so I began to clean some of it up. I'm sure I ate a half a bag before 20 minutes had gone by, but I was just thinking in good faith, if we could just give people one bag. And, if they were kind enough, if they filled two, then they filled two. But could we, since everybody seems to be in support of this, and Tim, yes, I'm sure you see the worst of it.
Can I just interject there, Jen?
Yeah.
I just drove past this morning, and I'll probably pick them up, but on Cormac Road, 3 big black garbage bags in the ditch in a matter of the length of my truck. And I was absolutely disgusted. I'm so appalled. No, if we can get this going, but that just gives you a, for instance, this is very important. We want to keep these communities clean. Absolutely.
So what would you guys think if we made May 15th and 16th ditch days? I use ditch day because that's what you called it when you ditched in high school.
Yeah, 15 and 16th is fine with me. And then on Monday, I guess they can just bring it, or they can bring it to the waste site on, like, is there a specific day they can bring it to the waste site, or just all day Saturday or the following week?
I would say whenever their waste site, the waste sites aren't open. Oh yeah, they're open on weekends then. We're not in summer hours. Would it be better to, well, we can't do it the next weekend because that's the long weekend. I say we stick with the 15th and 16th.
I recommend we do it when the dump is open. I recommend we do it when the dump is open so that people can just take their bag of garbage to the dump, right?
Yeah, so a Saturday and a Sunday work.
Absolutely, because we have landfill sites all over, or waste transfer sites all over the municipality. We might as well, do it when they're all within reasonable, open on those
Well,
days.
And those dates don't preclude you from going out on the 12th and cleaning out your ditch. It's just our waste sites will be told on the 15th and the 16th that you can bring one free bag that came out of your ditch in front of your house. Is that okay? So Annette, is there any way we can get this in the newsletter? I know Dana's going to not be very happy with us, but
I will check with Dana if the newsletter has already been, I don't believe it has already been put together, so I think we still have time to insert that in, but could we not do it on May the 17th? Like you said, you could do it on the 15th and 16th, but we'll make it the 17th so that that's the day you can bring one extra bag to the dump.
except the dumps are
It's
open on
open.
the 17th.
Well, just saying road would be.
Okay, so what, oh, they're open on the 15th and the 16th though?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay,
what I'm saying is you can get out and clean out your ditch whenever you want, but on the 15th and the 16th, you can bring a free bag to the waste site of your choice with your ditch goodies.
perfect. Okay.
Thank you. Thanks for your support, guys. I was pretty darn upset with my little walk the other day.
Then, so we have ditch day now. So then, is there any other comments? Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, Jason, I got a call from an individual on Bolt Road the other day when it was, when we had that downpour. I went for a drive. It's pretty greasy. Is there any way we can improve the quality on top of Bolt Road? Like, is it just the material we put on, or because it was pretty sloppy with that little bit of rain we got?
It was just freshly graded, Jack. Probably 2 days before that.
Okay. Because
And-
it was,
Yeah, and the grader
Go ahead.
operator, he didn't cut it very deep. He just, because it wasn't that it was out of shape a little bit, little bit of wheel rutting. So he just kind of scuffed it over and filled it in. He didn't cut real deep in the road, but it just went to soup. Yes.
yeah, because when I was on it there, it was like driving on a grease pad more or less. So, but anyways, it just, it didn't seem like there was much gravel on it. So, but anyways. So
No,
just wondering,
we can actually bring some other gravel in to put about like a little more on that to bring it up to, it's not going to go soupy.
yeah, in a few spots where it really gets soupy. So,
Yes.
okay, thanks.
Perfect. Was there any other comments for Jason before he leaves? No, perfect. Any other comments, Jason? Or are you good?
Oh, I have nothing else, Brent.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for coming today, Jason. And that was a good report. Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you very much, everyone. Take care.
So Annette, we'll move on to you now. So it is 2:40. Obviously, we've had a lot of discussion for a lot of important things, but we're just having a productive day, I guess, is the best way to look at it. So Annette, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the March financials are in your packages. If there were any questions on those. Okay. All departments reviewed the revisions on the draft fee bylaw, so an updated version is attached to this agenda for your review, as well as a complaint policy draft. So we talked about that. That was something that our water and sewer department, they were looking for to have put in place. So we discussed it with all the different department heads because we might as well put it forward for everybody else. And it uses the OMAS cartograph system as well. So that'll be another tool that we can use out of that toolbox. As well, I would like to request if we can move the June 15th council meeting to June 22nd. Reason being is Sandra and I are both attending the AMCTO conference that day, and I'm actually a presenter on the conference on the 15th. So is there any way that council would consider moving the June 15th meeting to June 22nd? Okay. I'll have Dana update the website then.
I think that gives us all lots of time.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And we still have 2 meetings in June. Just gives us an extra week in between. So,
No problem.
thanks.
No problem.
sent out to the committee the official plan amendments, changes from the County of Renfrew. So just to review, they're going to have public meetings and other things going forward. So I don't know that it would be of any use for me to answer any questions at this time, but just wanted you to have some of the draft proposed changes. I know they've been accepted, I guess, at County Council. The mayor can speak more to that, but still got to go out for the public meetings and have it ratified and all that kind of stuff. But wanted to make sure council had a copy of that. The OPP detachment board. So we have a police services board. A lot of the other communities around us have what's called a CPAC, so a policing advisory committee. The province is looking to move towards detachment board. So we all have one police service board for the entire detachment. We attended a meeting, the mayor, Jack and I attended a meeting the other day to sort of discuss that with some of our partners. Not everybody was able to attend, but we did come up with a proposal to have a representative appointed to a committee to sort of look at putting together what that detachment board would look like. So it has to be 20% provincial appointees and 20% community reps. And we were looking at having one per municipality. So that resolution is coming forward to council tonight, just to see if council supports that model, and also to appoint Jack as the person who's going to sort of sit on that committee to put our proposal forward to the province, because the province is looking for us to have our proposals forward on June 7th. So that will be coming forward tonight. Were there any questions on that?
Go ahead, Jen.
Thanks. Number one, I guess we'll talk about the draft fee bylaw further on the agenda. I really appreciate you getting together with your SLT and reviewing this. I think my only thing would be, right now we suspend all the ball field numbers until for the foreseeable future. The other thing is, I would really like everybody to definitely have a look at OPA 31. Again, it was unanimously adopted by County Council emphatically, in fact. And I'm really looking forward to the public meeting and getting going with this very long awaited official plan. With regards to the OPP detachment boards, I thought it went extremely well. And I think that the easiest way to do anything is the simplest. And there are 7 partners. We have the 6 municipalities within the Killaloe detachment, plus our partners in Pikwakanagan. And so the easiest thing, they were saying that the least amount of people you could have was 5. There's no maximum. However, whatever you have to have 20% public and 20% provincially mandated. So basically, my suggestion was each of the 7 partners send somebody. Then what they'll do as a hiring practice is they'll choose somebody from the public, from sort of the Western group, and choose somebody from the public in the Eastern group, and likewise with the provincial appointments. So that gives us a board of 11, which is perfect. And I think it's very equitable. The other thing we agreed to was that each of us would pay for our own person sitting on the PSB, no different than we do exactly right now. And then what we would do with the provincial and the public is we would take those fees of $50 per meeting and we would divide them amongst the 7 partners. This seemed to get a lot of traction. Everybody agreed to it. Unfortunately, we didn't have a representative from North Algona Wilberforce. However, I did phone the mayor directly after, and Annette followed up with an email to their CAO to let them know this was the idea on the table. The reason that we were able to take sort of a leadership role is that we're the only ones in the Killaloe detachment with a police services board. Everybody else is part of CPAC. So there were quite a few questions directed at us as Bonnechere Valley, asking poignant questions like, what is the difference between section 5.1 and section 10? You know, what changes have you seen having a contract? And so I thought it was an excellent meeting. I'm really excited, and I think the resolution speaks very well to what all the partners agreed to at that meeting. So I'm very happy, and I think the province will be very happy with us. For us, this will have little to no bearing. We've been in a contract for years. We're staying in a contract. It's just different people at the table. So I just wanted to sort of augment, because when Annette wrote this, it was correct. But like everything else in our reports, it's outdated already. We can't win for losing. People write a report and it's wrong the next day. So so I just wanted to sort of give the flavor of that meeting. And I think it's going to work very, very, very well. Thank you.
Thanks. So the next part is the asset management plan proposal. So we're doing a review and an update for our asset management plan this year. So I reached out to 4 different consultants to see if they could put in proposals, because I was hoping that it would come in. We received some funding for this, so it is 80% funded. And I was hoping that it would come in under the $50,000 mark, which is when we have to tender for. And one did come in under that mark, and one came close, and the others were a lot higher. So I'm looking to have council this evening, unless committee has other comments to make, to approve that proposal from JL Richards to review and revise our asset management plan this year, mostly with the funding we received from FCM. Okay, that's the Federation of Canadian Municipalities. Sorry, sometimes use acronyms.
And that I'm reading that they, I think they're the only ones that incorporated Brenda Pulaski, and I'm glad they're proposing that, because she wrote the original one.
Yes, we're going to be working with Brenda on this one as well. So yeah. And with the new cartograph OMS system. So hopefully it goes well, and we'll be all up to date. Okay. Community safety zones. So that was something that was discussed at committee and council a while back, sort of what's the procedure, what do we have to do? So that's included here in my report. If council wants to move forward with that in certain zones of the community, we have to have them outlined, and I can work with Jason to decide where they start and where they end, and bring forward a bylaw with a schedule that sort of sets that out for council's review. But the process is there.
Yeah, I'd like to see a staff recommendation for the community safety zones, just along, especially off of, I guess, Bonisher Street and around where you come in off Alice Street down to Patrick, I guess. Those are kind of areas of concern. And then I guess just really encourage more putting out that radar sign, especially when our traffic volume. Yes, I know we have a stay-at-home order, but we all know that the warm weather's coming, and that means cottagers are coming as well if they aren't already here. So it means our traffic volumes generally do always increase at this time. So that's my recommendation. Go ahead, Jen.
Yeah, they are already here, Brent. You're absolutely right. I would also like to add tributaries that come into Eganville. So 4th Chute, 512, all the places that we absolutely know people are coming in hot, and they're not realizing that all of a sudden they're in a 50 and they're in very built up residential areas. I followed somebody on 4th Chute the other day. They blew by Tim's house. They had to be easily doing 110. So I think that the tributaries coming in off those highways are very important as well. Thanks.
So I just want to be clear on what, are we talking about this radar sign for those tributaries, but we're not talking about putting community safety zones on all of those tributaries?
I don't know. I think I asked for the radar sign to go out last meeting, and I think that the more it goes out, the more we're going to see the need for some of these community safety zones.
Okay, so so just to being clear on direction, so we're going to put the radar sign out on some of these tributaries and busier spots. Depending on the information that comes from the radar sign, then we'll make recommendations on the community safety zones. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Okay, I'll work with Jason on that.
Yeah, I was going to say there's not I would say a dramatic rush on it, Annette. I'd rather get the information for, say, your 4th Chute from your Augsburg, Bonisher Street on both ends of it, and same as your Alice down to Patrick. I think those are, and especially, yes, up to Foy Mount. but just get the data on those to see how much traffic volume comes through, especially within our school districts, especially as well.
Thank you. The building department report was not in the zip file, it was in the PDF file, so if you missed it, that's where it is. I'm sure you saw it in the PDF file. So it was attached as well as Dana's report. Kevin touched on a little bit of that. So unless there's questions, I know we're short on time, so I will conclude my report.
Perfect. Thanks there, Annette. So that's all the reports. So moving on to correspondence A. Is there any comments on correspondence A? Seeing none. So is there any comments on anything in correspondence B? Yes, Jen, go ahead.
I have a few, thank you. I would like to support Whitewater Region's navigation on the Ottawa River resolution. I would like to support Township of Hudson's support for fire departments. Obviously, the Golden Lake Property Owners Association, this is a year over year. It's the map on the billboard that helps people know where they are on Golden Lake. Finally, the Lake Clear Property Owners Association request to rescind. I was notified that this again was not the Lake Clear Property Owners Association as a whole, that it was the members of the executive, and I got some pretty angry phone calls and emails about this request. So I just wanted anybody that hadn't been contacted to know that it was in fact the executive, and I assume some members, just not the membership as a whole. Thank you for that, Mr. Chair. That's all I have.
Just a note, Tim did leave the meeting, so just please keep an eye on, see if he does re-enter in it. He might have went out of service, I'm not sure. Was there anything else within correspondence B? So I'm fine moving forward with any of those correspondences, Jen, and supporting them. Same as your comments pertaining to the other things. So does council, we have our there's Tim there. So we have our AGM at 3. So for EGC, so we can start the new unfinished business and just keep going, and then transfer over to the AGM. Jen, you are chairing that. I think that if everyone's fine with it, I think we should get through our new unfinished business. I think a lot of stuff is simple, and then go into our AGM thereafter. Does that work with everyone?
Yeah, the EGC meeting can go on at any time because it's not a public meeting. So yeah, let's just carry on, Brent. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure everyone was on board. So we can move on to new and unfinished business. Could I please have the mayor's report, please? Oh, thank you. Sorry, Mr. Chair, I should have taken this off. I don't really have anything solid. All of my stats, as I mentioned earlier, they're all wrong. I will give an update at our first meeting in May. And depending on what is said by the Premier on Friday in our heads of council meeting, I may send out an email just notifying if there are any changes to the restrictions. I know that people are very frustrated, very confused, and I figure if we're confused, we can't expect our population to be anything but. Mr. Chair, in the interest of time, that's all I've got for today. I will give a fulsome report at our first meeting in May. Thank you. Perfect, thank you. And then I left library board update actually on just because in the upcoming issue of the newsletter, we will be advertising for the online auction to celebrate the 50th anniversary at the library. So we actually do have a substantial amount of items for auction. And so we will be doing online. We will be advertising, and it will begin in June. So just everyone, please keep your ears open to that. So that is all I have for the library board update. So number 3, so the draft complaint policy. Is there any discussion on that, please?
Seeing none, so everyone is content with it. So Annette, it looks like you have your direction there. Then pertaining to the draft fee bylaw, so we have asked staff to return with some edits. So is there any discussion or comments from there? Yes, Jen, go ahead.
Once again, with council's committee's indulgence, my apologies. I would like to suspend the ball field rates from now until for the foreseeable future. You know, we do know that there's some concerns about using the ball fields, period. And I think if kids want to get out when these measures are over and want to throw a ball around, I think for now, let's just let's forgive those rates.
Well, I would, I would be in support of that, Jen, for anyone that utilizes, I guess, their ball fields, because right now it doesn't look like anyone, well, soccer program or baseball have a high probability of having at least a full season. I know the soccer, no. And especially with the restrictions that it will be put in place, like for example, within a baseball team, everyone's got to have an individual bat, everyone's got to have an individual helmet. So it is also inherent cost. So maybe I would, I would recommend to staff to look on what's the best for the baseball organization if they do move forward on what makes the most sense on their end, or if it makes more sense for us to purchase supplies as a township rather than for giving the ball diamond. So whichever makes the most sense for the best benefit for the organization and how they're structured within the township and paying, I guess is where I was getting at. Just want to make sure they're getting their best bang for their buck. My only question with the draft fee bylaw would be why is the draft fee bylaw not done at the same time as our budget? I guess it more in a procedural, just obviously I was just more curious on, because obviously if we do increase our fees as a whole across the board, that would offset a certain amount of what our budgetary items are in the revenue category. So I guess my question would be like, why would it not make sense to align them with budget? So
we did discuss it in January and February that we would be looking at the fee bylaw this year. It was in some of my reports, but it wasn't requested to come forward with the budget at that time. It could be, there's no reason it couldn't be, but I don't think it's going to have as much as an impact as you think, one, because of the way COVID is right now, but also due to the fact that by the time it gets passed at council and gets incorporated and is effective, we're really only looking at maybe half a year's changes. So we were looking at it. We are behind. There were a lot of changes that the senior leadership team wanted to look at. There were certain things that weren't included in it prior to, or some things that needed to be cleaned up. So it definitely was sort of a piece of a piece that was needed to be updated according to a lot of the senior leadership team. And there were fees in there that we weren't charging that we took out. And then there were fees in there that, didn't really make sense what we were charging. So just kind of trying to clean it up, but at the same time, trying to be more similar to our neighboring municipalities. So we could have looked at it at the same time as budget. I don't think it's going to have as much of an impact as, that it should deter that we didn't look at it at budget. I think we should still move ahead with some of these changes. We've reduced the impact of them by reducing some of the fees, but I do think it needs to be cleaned up because there were some older fees on there that really we're not even charging anymore for.
Can I make a suggestion, Mr. Chair?
Go ahead, Tim, and then Jen. I saw your hand was up as well. So Tim, and then to Jen, please.
Since we're not going to make any big effect to the township in the next, for half a year, why not leave this to incorporate into next year's budget? I would be more comfortable with that after giving it some thought there, and I'd be more comfortable with it at next year's budget. Thank you.
Jen, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Annette. these increases are so nominal, they are going to have little to no impact on our revenues. I think it's prudent. It's been 2 years. And when we let things get behind, sometimes they get forgotten about, and then we are far, far, far behind where our neighbors are. So I'm ready to pass this fee bylaw. The only thing I wanted to do is talk about the ball fields, because I did have a conversation with the person that runs our minor ball, and the amount of work that would have to go into having any sort of proper season is it's crazy. As Brent said, they're all going to have their own bat, and I don't know how do you catch somebody out when you can't get near them with a ball. So I think, I think that was the only challenge I had. But when you're talking seriously moderate increases, it's not going to have any effect on the budget.
Well, I was going to say, but no, I agree with on the baseball diamond. I agree with like the soccer fields. I would also look at, if we did charge a fee for the baseball, that we would then utilize those funds towards say equipment that we could then provide for the baseball, because so it's whatever, I guess, have a conversation with Mr. Fleury on seeing what would be the most I guess beneficial for the organization, and that extends their funds the longest. My recommendation would be, there's already been enough increases throughout everything from lumber to steel to everything, that I would say that I would be more comfortable with having a discussion for at the next budget for the fee bylaw, any increases within the township. And the reason I say that is just, yes, it's a nominal increase, but I guess I would also at the same time want to see what's our projected increases over the next 2 to 5 years as well, I guess, just because, yes, it is nominal, but it is still an increase in a time where some people's incomes, they don't have that income anymore. They're living on the federal government. So yes, we've been good as a municipality. Yes, we passed the budget that does, but no, I'm not in favor of an increase at this time. I think we're almost 5 or 4 months into the year. I think we have the ability to hold off another 8 months and postpone this increase for another discussion at next year's budget. So that's my recommendation. I'm one council, but no, I'm not in favor of increasing fees when within our own budget that we passed, that we have the ability to run this municipality. Any other comments? Councillor Buchwald or Councillor Rosner?
My take on this is I'm in agreement with Jen. We don't want to fall so far behind. It's the increases are very minimum increases. So I don't see why these are increases that were approved by our senior staff, and we already revisited once already. So I don't understand why we wouldn't just go ahead and implement them.
I agree with Jack. I think the increases are minimal, and it's not going to affect the budget. Let's clean it up.
Okay, so you have your staff direction, so we can go from there. But I know I would ask council members to as well, just review the increases and stuff, because it's not that it's going to impact the budget as well, but it does impact every ratepayer within the municipality. So I would just maybe for future, just to review the numbers closer, because there is, in my opinion, dramatic increases. But obviously I'm only one member here. So
Actually, if
yes,
I may,
Jen, go
Mr.
ahead.
Chair,
Yep.
it actually doesn't affect every person in the municipality.
Well, everyone has the capacity to say do an addition or do anything, Jen.
But if I don't do an addition, it doesn't affect me.
But you're still a ratepayer, so if you ever do something, then it would. So it impacts every single individual, no matter if you go to the dump, bring, say, garbage material, anything. So it's across the board. That's all. But no, we have staff direction from there. So I'll move on to number 5. So letter of understanding with North Laguna Wilberforce. Is there any other comments pertaining to that? Okay. So number 6, I'll turn myself on mute, and I'll turn this over to Jen to act as the chair, and I'll remove my video as well.
Okay, thanks. So everybody read, I assume, the back and forth between the request, where they originally wanted it, where it ended up coming back to senior leadership that said it's not viable to open up that island. And now the request is more picnic tables on the municipal property behind Ryan Hilke's building, which houses the physiotherapist. My only comment would be there are 2 picnic tables there. And the challenge we would have, number 1, we don't own the Creamery parking lot. We only really own eight spots. The owner has been kind enough to allow people to park there while there isn't development going on. But the challenge is, if we were talking about picnic tables going further, like on our property, we are back where we were with the issue with fire trucks trying to draw on water, where we're already sort of limited there, that we found out during the potential addition of the boardwalk. So that was my only concern, is that, are we further limiting? And is this perhaps a request that should go to the owner of the Creamery building? If there isn't planned development this year, would they be willing to allow some picnic tables on their property? But that is certainly not for this committee nor council to delve into. It's just a matter of, are we willing to allow more picnic tables on our property on the river? Yes, Merv.
The next question, I might seem silly, but if we do put picnic tables there, the next question is, who's going to disinfect them? Who's going to keep them clean between people going and sitting down eating at them?
Well, and right now you're not allowed to sit at them anyway, but yeah. Good point. Jack, thoughts?
I just don't think there's enough room to put any more substantial picnic tables there. There's 2 of them there right now. And as you go farther down, the water tends to creep in. So you're not, and you definitely don't want to come out into the parking lot area where we're parking.
No.
As like I said, when we were down there and Dave came and looked at it, there's very limited. He'd take up 3 or 4 spots just to draw water from there, right? When we were looking at getting water, we were putting the fountain there. So I think 2 picnic tables is really all there is really real estate for there, without coming overcrowding and becoming, and I just don't see it being a viable place for people walking across the road or coming from wherever they're going to come. If they want to use the Creamery or whatever, like I said, that's between them and talking to the owners of the Creamery. If they want to fence off part of that back end and put in X number of picnic tables, that's between them and the Creamery owner and them. It has nothing to do with us.
Agreed.
I just don't think there's enough real estate there.
Tim? I'm not sure we still, oh, yeah, there he is.
I agree with Jack on that. Looking at back of what we've discussed in previous years, definitely it'll be up to the contact of the owners of the Creamery.
Thanks for that. Annette, you had your hand up?
I just, I wondered if there's anything, and I'm not saying that there is, just because the museum's right there. Is there any area there that could be used? I'm not saying there is. I haven't looked into it at all.
That would be a question for Preston, because on one side, of course, are 2 accessible parking spots, and the other side has the ramp going into the museum. I think that would be a Preston question.
Okay. Maybe I'll chat
could
with them.
use, if they wanted to cut off the parking from going around the back, they could use that the back end, you know what I mean? The back
Yeah.
wall, but that again is up to Preston, right?
And I don't know how safe it would be to put somebody under that wall.
I
I'm not
know.
saying anything's happening, but okay.
No,
Yeah.
I agree with you. All right, so if you would kindly get back to the request and just let them know, there's no way the fire department's going to be moving picnic tables to draw water from the river, especially when the creamery is under development and it's even harder to get in and out of there. So, I don't want to hamstring the owner and I don't want to hamstring the fire department either. All right, you can bring Brent back. Okay, I'm going to turn this back over to you, Brent.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, guys. So number 7, Birch Road request. So we did discuss that at Jason's report. Is there any additional comments or stick with staff recommendations? Seems everyone's on their head, so okay. So number 8, the Golden Lake Properties Owners Association, their crest. This is something we've done every year, so I think we all support it. Okay, and then number 9, there's the LCPOA request to bring forward from correspondence. Is there any comment on there? Yes, Jen, go ahead.
So I sort of touched on it, but we didn't have a discussion. I just wanted you guys to know what I was hearing over the weekend, but if there were other comments.
Okay, go ahead, Annette.
So the request is to reconsider the bylaw, I think in hopes of us, or of council, repealing the bylaw. And the indication to me is that now the LCPOA is not able to file an appeal anyway as an association. They can only do that as an individual. But the individuals on the executive are suggesting that they would not file an appeal should that bylaw be reconsidered and repealed, which we wouldn't have to do public meeting for or anything like that. However, if it is not, they are suggesting that they're going to go ahead with an appeal to the local planning tribunal. So that's the only thing that I want to make sure that committee and council is considering is if they do go ahead with an appeal, of course, there will be costs associated with that appeal. And we are looking at it again later this year. So that would be, that's something I just want to make sure that the committee and council is aware and considering, and that's what their request would be. And that's sort of the process if council or committee wanted to proceed with their request. That's what they're asking, is for it to come forward on the May 4th meeting to be reconsidered. They're hoping that in reconsideration it will be repealed, and then they will not appeal to the LPATs. Doesn't mean somebody else won't appeal to the LPATs or somebody else can't go ahead, but that is the indication that I'm receiving, and nobody else has sort of indicated to me that they are interested in appealing to the LPATs other than some people on this group. So just for your consideration, that's all I wanted to add.
Yes, Jack, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to comment as we passed the bylaw and it's going forward. We're probably, this bylaw is going to be revisited once the OPA gets passed anyways. We've already seen that. If you've read the OPA, it does go into some detail about like lake set capacity and stuff. So I guess what they're trying to do here, and that, correct me if I'm wrong, they're trying to give us a way out so that we don't incur legal fees. Is this what this is all about? Is their carrot that they're throwing out to us, or what?
So they, and again, I don't know that it's the association or individuals on the association, but the individuals who have contacted me disagree with the current bylaw and also disagree with the bylaw that's been passed that is not yet in effect. However, they can't appeal, of course, the current zoning bylaw because it's already been passed and the appeal period is no longer active. The new bylaw that we passed is something that is up for appeal, and that is their indication to me, is that they plan to appeal that bylaw. But if we were to reconsider it and repeal it, then they would not appeal that bylaw, and they still disagree with the current bylaw, but they're willing to wait until we look at the whole comprehensive review before doing anything on that. Now, that's an individual saying that to me, but they are still refuting that they disagree with the current bylaw. So whether that opens us up to a claim under our current bylaw, if we did repeal this bylaw, I don't know the answer to that question. We definitely council passed this bylaw because wanted to move forward with getting something done before the comprehensive review. So that is the suggestion, is that then they will not file with the LPATs. And I mean, it's of course that there's costs that are associated with that. So up to.
But then, Annette, they're going to come back. They're going to come back. They're just hang on, Tim.
Tim, let Jack go and then Tim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to come back with their letter that they got saying that is in contradiction. There's no RVs that are allowed. So we're just the whole purpose of cleaning up this bylaw was to clean up our bylaw, because we knew our bylaw wasn't worded properly. So if we step back to this, then we're just opening our door to their legal letter that we're going to have to be challenged with anyway. So,
Agreed.
I don't see this as a win-win. I don't see there's no win here.
Agreed. That is their request, but you're absolutely, that your understanding is the same as mine.
All right, thanks.
Go ahead, Tim.
No, I just wanted to say I received overwhelming support of the bylaw from quite a few individuals, and I won't bow down to any bully tactics this part of the game. I stand by what I decided, and I stand by what we did there 2 weeks ago. Thank you.
No, I agree. I agree with the bylaw we passed, and I'll be moving forward as such. Any other comments?
I agree with the bylaw we passed.
Thanks, Merv. Jen, go ahead.
Well, and I read the request or the piece of correspondence exactly the way Jack read it. Anyway, I don't like that it's coming across that it's the whole LCPOA. And I will tell you, I did have one person that phoned me over the weekend, guys. He was spitting tacks that this was under the guise of the LCPOA. So I think that we need to remember that, and we really need to heed our CAO's comment that the CPOA as an entity cannot make a complaint to the LPATs that it is in fact an individual. So I think that we need to sort of carry that forward. Thanks.
Perfect. So that is any other comments for number 9? Seeing none. Okay. Establish next meeting date. Let me pull up my handy dandy calendar here. So the next meeting date is scheduled for May 4th, 2021. We don't have any media present. We do not have any closed sessions. So could I ask for a mover for the conclusion of the meeting, please? Jack, and then all those in favor? Perfect. So that concludes our meeting. Thank you everyone for coming here today. And did go a little overdue, but that's all right. We made it 3:19. Thanks everyone.
Okay, hang on. So